So I'm going to just give this isn't a long one, but it's just some new stuff that's happening over the last few days. Obviously, when you go on the news, there's a whole lot of other stuff around some sort of coronavirus out there, but
I've heard about that.
at the end, I'll say a very little about that. But anyway, let's, the first thing, this necroplanetology. Steve saw my slide at the start, and he wondered what the heck that was about. And there's a news article that, in 2015, some astronomers found something weird, this white dwarf star that was dimming, and the gravity of this dead star was in the process of shedding and devouring bodies in the orbit around it. So it was obviously a violent process, and it's called tidal disruption. Now they're using this as a proof of concept for a new field of planet study, forensic reconstruction of planetary bodies to understand what they were like and how they died. So they are calling this necroplanetology, which I'm not sure it's a great word. This is, Steve also mentioned about Uranus. Here it is in all its glory. It's not very exciting, and there's really not a whole lot to it when you're observing it. But a couple of guys went over the old data collected by Voyager 2 in 1986, and have made the discovery that the Uranus's atmosphere is gradually escaping into space. It's obviously, when Voyager 2 flew by, the reaction back on Earth was one of disappointment. It really wasn't really exciting. Images showed a featureless turquoise ball, even up close. And they've taken some data, though, and really analyzed what Voyager had done. And they've come up with, there's these unseen spikes in the data which last just 60 seconds, and it's called a plasmoid. And it's a bubble of plasma ionized atoms entrapped in the magnetic fields that have been pinched off. And then Uranus is such a strange planet, and I've got a graphic of it next. But in essence, these loops get pinched off and then escape into space, and besides the solar wind, which is obviously taking some of all the planet's atmospheres a little bit at a time, this is happening as well. This is a graph of it. Although it's bland, it's a complex planet with its obviously orbit, its rotation at 98 degrees are almost flat, but the magnetic field is 59 degrees to that. And then they come up with this graphic here. Can you guys all see that? I'm not even going to explain what's going on here, but I thought it looked neat.
Yeah, I can see it.
So, as the magnetic field.
Does the pole count of the sun, Jim?
What's that?
I think the pole is pretty close to the sun, isn't it? Like pointing towards the sun, as that magnetic field is running around it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it orbits so quickly, and the magnetic field is constantly in flux and changing. I think that's what's happening here. And then some of the ionized gas gets trapped in the magnetic field, and then dissipates away from the planet. So. This guy, anybody know what anniversary it is today? This is Vesta. It's the 100th anniversary of or it's one of the anniversaries. Actually, it's not the 100th, but today In history, Vesta was discovered. It's the second largest body in the asteroid belt. A fourth object to be discovered in the region between Mars and Jupiter. And everybody thought that it was either all these asteroids were either smashed to pieces or ripped apart by Jupiter's gravity, which we know isn't quite correct. Now this has something to do with obviously those that do some observing. This is one of the rockets for OneWeb sending satellites into orbit. Between them and SpaceX, they're starting to fill up the space with all these satellites so people can have internet, basically. But just in the last few days, this OneWeb has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They wouldn't extend them any more money. So I'm not sure what that's going to mean, but they just launched 34 last week, and there's 74 in total, and then SpaceX has a whole bunch as well, and working on that. So that's a concern for observational astronomy. Not sure what that was, but anyway. Wasn't me. This little dot in all of this is this micromoon that Earth had for a little while. We captured a space rock called 2020 CD3. It was identified last month, but it's gone. It's left. It's continuing its journey around the sun, so we lost our mini moon on March 7th. A little fuzzy picture, but it's meant to be that way. This is Titan, and in theory, you can see the fuzziness around the edge in its atmosphere. And what the future space telescopes may be able to probe is Titan-like exoplanets that have similar atmospheres that they can model. They considered worlds Titan-like if they were far enough from the star for methane to condense and high enough water to rock ratio to spew volatile compounds into the atmosphere. This LUVOR telescope is a proposed multi-wavelength space telescope under consideration by NASA as a future observatory. So just something for the future. The planet Mercury is in the news. One of the things they're wondering, it did it once have ingredients for life, and volatiles, which in chemicals including water, obviously essentials for sparking and supporting life. So there is potential for a presence on Mercury as an intriguing development. There's been a study to look closer at this, the terrain and the possibility that these volatiles once shaped the planet, which now is the surface temperature hot enough to melt lead. So obviously there aren't any anymore, but maybe in the past.
I think at the two poles, Jim.
Sorry?
I think at the two poles, they're saying that it's cold enough for water ice at the poles in the craters because they never see the sun there.
Right. Well, obviously on the far side, like I think it's tidally locked too, is it not? So
it rotates very slowly. I think you can actually walk faster than the sunrise moves around the planet.
So
but
there might
mostly all of Mercury will see the sun at some point every year, I think.
And I think they're talking about under the surface as well. How far, if you go down in under the surface where the temperature is not as hot, there may be these chemicals there still as well.
Yeah. All that stuff comes in on comets. Water and amino acids and most of the ingredients for life seem to come in on comets. So if they landed on Mercury in the distant past and boiled off and then condensed and collected at the poles, it may still be there.
Sure.
like the moon.
Speaking of comets, I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention. And was Ellen given the comet thing tonight or not?
She is giving one. I'm sure she'll probably have more
So,
information on it than you have.
very briefly, very briefly, this is Comet Atlas, and it's getting really bright really fast. And I'm not going to say anything more about it. We'll wait for Ellen to talk about it. I thought this was interesting. This is the list of NASA mission launches for up to 2025. Lots of things in the news. They've slowed things down. The James Webb Telescope is idle right now. They're not doing anything with it because of COVID-19, but they got a lot of things happening in the next little while, especially 2022. So there's lots of stuff going on. There's over a dozen science-focused missions ranging from observing the Earth to exploring other worlds to studying faraway galaxies and galaxy clusters. So hopefully all of these projects get to carry on and we'll see some fruition with some more, I'm sure, excellent data. This little guy is astronomers have announced 100 new minor planets beyond Neptune, besides Pluto. So, and there's likely up to 70,000 of these, what do they call them? TNOs. The trans-Neptunian objects. They orbit in the cold outer reaches of the solar system out beyond Neptune, hundreds of years to orbit. Well, they pinpointed 100 of them, and there's lots more out there to discover. I just want to finish up. There's lots of discouraging information about COVID-19, but the astronauts in the space station have been doing some positive thinking about Earth and sending some images from on Twitter and things like that. So I just collected a few of those, and the hashtag they're using is Earth Strong. So just gives us a bit of a view of the edge of our atmosphere. This is England, or the United Kingdom in the middle there, European continent up on the right, and Ireland down on the left. Still lots of lights on. This is Algeria and a mine. And this is another one, another one from Algeria. And this, anybody take a look at this picture and tell me what city this is? It's in Canada. I don't know whether you can see my, this is downtown Vancouver right there. That's Vancouver.
Is that Toronto?
No, it's Vancouver.
Vancouver. You can see the airport down to the left a bit. Can't
Can
quite
you guys
get all.
see my,
Doesn't look big enough to be Vancouver.
It's from a ways up. Horseshoe Bay's off here at the very top. Well, top and heading left kind of thing. And then I think that's Bowen Island, a little spot of right off in the upper left.
Hmm.
Not that I know anything about that.
I don't know if anybody has any questions or not. I put Brian's picture on there. I am getting one of those telescopes when I can ever get over to get it. I will get there, Brian, if you're on.
Should get him to set it outside his front door.
Yes. Steve, I have a one slide on Rasc. Do you want me to do that now, or is anybody else doing?
Hang on, I guess I better unmute. I'm talking while.
Oh, you got one.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim. I think
Just to bring everybody up to date. Obviously, the office in Toronto, everybody's working from home, but I still lots of things happening there. I just put some, there was to be a Rasc council meeting today, but it's been postponed till April the 19th. The big thing is the General Assembly in Coquitlam has been canceled, and they're probably going to have some Zoom type lectures around that time, and there'll be more information on that. And they're going to have to hold the annual meeting at some time, but it'll be in Toronto at a later date. So that's all I had as an update.